The theme of light that we have been discussing in the context of Scripture is not a mere literary one in the context of biblical theology. Rather, it is deeply connected with the life and ministry of the Christian, with our understanding of our place within the world and what it means to be present as God's witnesses. The advent of Christ brings the dawning of a new day. Christ comes as light into the world. And our first response to that should be to bring ourselves into that light, to live as people of the light. Now, there is a natural connection between human beings and light. When the light comes, we wake up. We start to live as those who are of the day, as those who are wakeful and watchful. We live as people who are alert and in control of our senses and our bodies. Whereas when we sleep, that position that we assume in the context of night, we are those who lose control of our bodies, who lose awareness, who lose watchfulness. We are called to be people of the day. We are also called to be the light of the world. Christ is the light that has come into the world. Christ is the one who brings light and understanding. And we are to be those who bring light and understanding too. We are supposed to be those who, by our way of living, testify to a day that is to come, a day that is already dawning within our hearts, the day of Christ's judgment. Now, this way of living is one that will stand out in an age that is characterized by the darkness, by deeds that are done in secret, by a life that is lived without understanding, without awareness, without alertness, without consideration of what lies beyond, a narrow absorption within the moment. As we enter into the light that Christ has brought into the world, we ourselves start to reflect that light and to bring light to others. The creation of light from darkness, then, is not merely a mere physical or even temporal theme in Scripture. It's a deeply moral and theological theme. God brings light to bear upon his creation, not merely physically, but also morally. By God's presence, he discloses things to be what they truly are. In the creation account of Genesis chapter 2, we see this pattern of Genesis chapter 1 recapitulated. And within this context, it is the man that is created as equivalent to the light. In creating the man as equivalent to the light, we see something about what light means. We also see something about what humanity means. Light has a moral force to it, and the man's calling to divide between good and evil is associated with that bringing of light into the creation. Of course, this light bearing is connected with what it means to be the image of God. It is associated with the image of God because God is pure light, light without any darkness at all. He is pure understanding. He is pure moral goodness. He is everything that light symbolizes. As we appreciate this, we can see within the very first act of creation, as if in a nutshell, the full intent of God's work in the creation as a whole. His intent to bring understanding, his intent to bring things to light, his intent to bring things into goodness and into participation in his life. And as Christians, we are called to participate in this, to be those who enter into the fullness of the creation, the fullness of God's light, who step out into this realm of disclosure, who live as people of the light, and then who in turn reflect that light, who bring light to those places of darkness, to manifest and shed abroad the light of Christ, the Son, wherever we may be found.